So it is imperative for an entrepreneur, the owner of a company, to seek help of experts. Someone told me, "Hey, what are you doing at this time here?" I see. I'm still getting goosebumps of that day. One thing which was very new for me is the Ramadan period. Well, it's a good question. So it's a combination of many questions actually. I thought I'm not going to survive tonight.
Let's switch gears.
Every shock gives rise to an opportunity, and
Welcome to AbedPod. This is episode 6. If you have enjoyed our content so far, I would request you to share your comments on the comment section and also on the community tab, because this is going to be full of action in the next couple of months, I would say. Something that we are preparing for you guys is a good enjoyment, and hope you will have a good entertainment on that part. And if you feel that there is someone is looking to break through some kind of difficulties, please share with him the small short form of the videos that we are publishing, that will give him a hand to get out from the situation that he is. Today, we have a special guest. He made Dubai as a home for him after 25 years of a global experience. He managed to have his presence in 53 countries and 3 continents. As an Indian national, he made UAE as a home to establish his family and also for his kids to grow up, where he continues to drive sustainable business growth and leadership. From consulting for TATA Steel to being nominated to the board of Asanta. His journey is packed with lessons of overcoming obstacles and breaking the cycle of failure. He might not agree with the failure title, but we will discuss on that. So get ready, honestly, for some insight on someone had really traveled, seen a lot of situation, gone through some obstacles, and he overcome it with successful history, which is 25 years. So, Vashaent, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me, and it's wonderful joining and being part of your podcast.
Excellent. For the people who doesn't know you, please introduce yourself.
Well, I call myself as a business catalyst and a global citizen. You know, I like to be called a global citizen, though Dubai is a home away from home for me. I was born and raised in India, eastern part of India, and this is Calcutta, which used to be a former capital of India. Mm-hmm. And I studied in Calcutta, and then I left for a greener pasture outside India. And as they say, the rest is a history.
Amazing. 25 years of experience and 53 countries and 3 continents. Why Dubai?
Well, Dubai is a place of endless opportunities. You know, it's in the crossroad of Europe, Africa, and Asia. If you talk about Dubai, it has a vibrant culture. It has got so much to offer. Anyone who has come to Dubai has never gone empty-handed.
Absolutely.
And for me, coming to Dubai, it was not from India. It's rather actually from UK.
Interesting.
Yes, I went to UK for a project, and then I came to Dubai actually for that project.
Okay.
And then in those years, there was a company called Dubai Wire in Jebel Ali Free Zones.
Which year is that?
Well, it was early part of the century.
Okay.
So it was a great experience actually, and cultural wise, I didn't have so much difference. It is like, you know, duck into the water, and I didn't have so much of the culturally. I didn't have to adapt so much as I had to do it in UK.
Interesting.
In UK, I had to learn, unlearn, and relearn a lot of things.
Quick word from our sponsor of this episode, the Middle East Summit of Excellence. If you did not secure your ticket for the upcoming event on the 1st of November, I advise you to click on the QR code below to visit the website and see what is the ticket are available before it's gone. So now let's go back to the episode. Which year we are talking about, so we can put a timeline for
we are talking about 2003-4.
2003 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in those years, Dubai is not the same as what you see
Absolutely.
today. There was no Mall of the Emirates. There was no, even Batuta actually. Even Batuta was under construction. Or it was about to be launched. And then Marina was not there. So the life was good, and I couldn't ask for more.
How did that influence you establishing a family here? When you came from the UK back in 2003, you didn't have family with you, right? So you
No, I was
established it
not
here
married. I got married only in 2006.
in 2006, okay?
Yeah, and the life for family, you see, it's a cultural confluence of contemporary and modern things,
Yeah.
right? It has got value in those years. I used to live in Kurdish, Sharjah, and during Ramadan time, it was wonderful feeling, and I cannot share that feeling inside deep. That's such a it's a purity, and and you talk about the religious faith, and it was completely a new experience. It was completely you went to a different zone during that 1 month time.
Absolutely.
And yes, only one thing I still remember when I came to Dubai. What are the things I didn't know about the common pleasantries in Arabic? So I
Okay.
asked someone, "Hey, how are you doing?" He said, "Alhamdulillah." I said, I thought maybe he didn't understand me. I said, "I didn't ask your name. I asked you, how are you doing?"
Very interesting. Okay.
So, even those small stories, I always carry.
You know, this exact sentence now, I often see it when expat, non-Arabic speakers, they tend to use it after living here for a good 5-6 years. They capture this.
Yes.
I've seen it myself. And even someone like I was that day, I was saying, we plan to do so and so. And all of a sudden he said, Inshallah. And I looked at him like, what?
So, yeah.
I said, I'm living here for 6 years. I'm keep listening to this stuff from you guys.
And
So.
I have been using two words all my life wherever since I stepped into Dubai is Inshallah, and the other one is Mashallah. So these are two of my favorite words actually. Even if I'm in Slovenia, I will ask Mashallah. I said, what was that? I said Mashallah means
Something grateful for that
Yeah.
blessing. How did that like coming from the UK? Because don't get me wrong, a lot of people once they reach UK, US, Canada, for example, it is the destination for them. Especially if you are considering people coming from.
I agree to an extent. But what happens, there's England, the British, they rule India. So most of the things that we had learned from British culture, our education was based on British system. We have learned the language through British way.
Agree.
We may not carry that accent, but we still have the similar mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So going to UK at that point of time was for me it was like a fish out of water actually.
Interesting.
because a lot of things I had to adapt. But when it comes to Dubai, UAE, it was like a duck sailing into water.
It's in the UK, I guess there is a good amount of subcontinent citizens.
yes. Yes.
So why the harmony at that place? Why the harmony was not picked up?
No, actually, it's when you talk about UK, it's a London where you have these diverse, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, people from Somalia. You will find them. There's
It's a cosmopolitan city.
Cosmopolitan.
Yeah, you will see multinationalities there.
So, but the place where I went, it's a Coventry. It's a quite far-flung place from, it's nearby Birmingham.
Okay.
But it was like alone in the crowd for me. So somehow I was not sure. I couldn't adapt to that. The temperatures. Sometimes they have three weather. Cold, coldness, and
Yeah, compared to here, we have only
Sir,
2 seasons.
Yes, sir. So those are the experience, and I thought, when I came here to Dubai, I thought, I'm learning so much, and it's endless opportunities. The city. It's so vibrant. People from 190, 100, 200 countries. I don't know how many countries inhabitants are here.
It's true.
So it was more of a natural transition for me in Dubai than, let's say, in the Western world. Though I have a great respect for Western world. We learn so much from them. They have greater practices, procedures. They have ethical practices. A lot of things that we all learn from them. But at the same time, for me, Dubai is where home is.
That's great. That leads me to the other question, which is traveling between countries, and you obviously you will get in touch with the culture, the way how people
yes.
become self. I see it from people here. Sometimes they tend to have this kind of not resistance, but I don't want to go to that country. You know what I mean?
Well,
If it's for culture background, language background, but for you traveled to 53 countries, and that's for business as well. How did you manage to overcome the obstacles?
well, one of the thing, back in India, when we were growing up in India, they were saying, if you can drive in India, you can drive anywhere in the world. It was such a chaotic roads.
True.
And then we went through a very grinding process while we were growing up in India.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Darwin's theory, survival of the fittest. That time India's population was about 100 billion, 1 billion, sorry. Now it's 1.4 billion. So still, if you're just like, if you're not winning gold, you are losing silver. It's all about race, right?
Wow. That's very high competitive
Yeah,
environment.
it's a very competitive world.
Yeah.
Even the schools, if you're tired of physics, do maths. If you're tired of maths, you do, chemistry.
Yeah.
So that is how we were raised. Now, when we went to a different geographical regions, most adversarial conditions, we kind of learned how to swim in those places.
Mm-hmm.
The only I still have those reservations about adapting to different food conditions, right?
Food conditions, okay.
Yeah. Like many of us, especially me, I'm very fussy about food. So if I have to go to a far-flung places where I don't find something of not like if I'm not liking certain foods, and normally I just stay. I used to starve actually, or rather I will buy some fruits and stay for some time till the time I have some better food.
Interesting.
Or bread or just butter or something.
Go back to basics, I guess.
Yes, go for the basics. So I mean, those were the days where I was trying to learn the different food habits. I was trying to learn how to eat. Actually, British people, they eat with, their mouth, the lips shut, right?
Yes.
Huh?
How is that?
Yeah.
Unpack that. How are you supposed to eat?
Yeah. I mean, the Indian habits was a bit different. We would chew,
Okay.
right? We would masticate like,
Yeah, okay.
and they would very gently, they will masticate, chew inside, right?
Okay.
So it should not. I mean, it should not be disrespectful for the person who is sitting in front of you, right?
You mean with the sound, like while chewing, it would create sound?
Chewing with, it's like
the mouth
very
movement.
gently you are chewing inside without being noticed.
Interesting.
I mean, those were the things, right?
Okay.
I mean, for me, coming from Calcutta, I was actually in the suburb of Calcutta. I had to learn a lot of things when I came outside. So it's a process for everyone, it's a different culture. You have to adapt to that culture. You need to speak the way they understand. There I learned Queen's language should always be spoken in Queen's way.
Interesting.
So that was a different era. Nowadays everyone thinks, okay, this is my identity. If I speak my language and the English in my way, that means I know more than one language, right?
Interesting. Your majority of travel was before settling down in Dubai or after settling down in Dubai?
After settling down in Dubai.
After settling down.
After settling down in Dubai.
Okay, so it means that the majority of travel after settling down was for a business purposes.
Yes. Initially, I used to travel 20 odd days in a year, in a month. And then slowly I had to cut down. I just got married and after 3-4 days I was in US. It was like that. I had a pretty bad experience in US.
There you go. See?
yeah. And then that's a story for another day. But I have been traveling for ages now. It looks like.
You reminded me with the movie called Up in the Air.
Up in the air. Yes.
Guys,
I'm always up in the air.
Go look for it. It's exactly remind me with that because it's the this gentleman who was playing, I think George Clooney. He was like
he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, most of the year he was up in the air.
Yeah.
like traveling between states. During that travels, I'm sure that you have been in a situation that I wouldn't say scarred, it kept a mark with you.
Of course, this is exactly what happened in US. So I was married hardly for a few days, and uh, it was 2-degree temperatures, and you know what? I was in Times Square,
Okay.
and there was a different time. My wife was here in Dubai. And,
I think that was 12 hours. No, it's not.
I remember I used to go to sleep, and my wife would go to office. It was like that. So,
12 hours.
Yeah, 12 hours. Yeah. Once upon a time, what happened? I was in Times Square. I thought, okay, let me enjoy some time here in Times Square. Then someone told me that okay, there are this metro. You can use the metro from there's a Madison Square Garden. And then I took a wrong train. Actually, it was 11:30, and I took a wrong train. And then someone told, no, this is not going to your place. So I said, what do I do now? And it was 12:15 or something.
Okay.
And there was fear inside me, and then I started. I know a lot of questions that comes to your mind. It starts.
It's the panic.
Yeah, it's a panic. Panic. Yes, I was getting into the panic mode.
Okay.
But still, I was trying to control her.
Trying to hold yourself.
Yes, and then I started asking, "Is it? Can you help me? How do I?" I said, "Okay, get down in the next stop, change the end, and then come out, and then after 3 stops, you will take a bus and then go to your hotel." I said, "Oh, I will forget this route anywhere." So I said, "Get down now." I said, "Next stop, I got down." The moment I came out to change the other end, someone told me, and it was complete dark. And the temperature, I was not carrying the woolen clothes. And someone told me, "Hey, what are you doing at this time here?" I see, I'm still getting goosebumps of that day. I said, I lost my way. I said, "Oh, so better you do one thing, you take care of yourself. This neighborhood is not very friendly." And I didn't. My mind was stuck. I said, "What am I going to do now?" I said, and at the same time, I got a call from my wife. I said, "Hang on, I need to find my way first." And then someone told me that go and walk 1.5 kilometers from here. You will find a bus stop. I said, someone told me that I can change this train and then go back to. So no, you walk 1.5 kilometers and that is a complete dark. And I just followed his instruction. And that was probably the God is kind. He has saved my life. For the
You
sake,
took a big leap of faith there.
of course. My heart was beating, and I thought I'm not going to survive tonight. And somehow, by God's grace, He was there. He was guiding me. I finally reached my spot, and there was no one. You can't think about a wind bus. Anyway, that's a story. To cut the story short, I finally reached my hotel at 4:45.
3:45.
Yeah.
That is between 11:30 to that's good 3.5 hours
Yes.
of consistent adrenaline pump in your vein.
That is something I'll never forget till the time I go to my graveyard.
Well, that's a memory, eh?
Of course, I didn't expect this question actually. It is something
Yeah, I warned you. I warned him. I told him I'm gonna derail from questions. So there you
Yes.
go. When you moved to Dubai,
Yeah.
you said in the beginning of this interview that it was transitioned smoothly and stuff like that. However, I'm sure there was challenges, and everyone moves. Yes, it gets easy. However, there was some challenges appears.
Absolutely.
So when you moved to Dubai, what was your biggest transition to this kind of market from a business point of view?
Mm-hmm.
From a social point of view, since you moved from the UK, it's pretty much different than here. Let's put it that way. There was different values, family orientation, bigger families, etc., etc. And at that time, when you came here, you were not married. So, what was the transition from the Western culture when it comes to work and when it comes to family oriented?
Well, as I said, in UK, I had a very brief tenure there, but uh, work culture-wise, in those at that period of time, it was not much of the difference because Dubai had a diverse culture, very vibrant. People from so many countries are here,
Yes.
and the company where I came for a project. Majority of them were Indian ethnic, okay, Indian descent, and uh, I'm not saying that I was very close just because they were Indian, but the company also had expats, other countries.
Yeah.
But it was very it was kind of an easy ride, if not the biggest obstacle that I had faced is that uh, driving, without license you can't drive, right?
You can't drive here, yeah.
So getting that license is you have to go through the process.
Absolutely.
And then until you have a license you have to depend on the
Correct me if wrong. In India, you drive on that's the steering wheel. It's on
yes. So
on the right side.
the rule is wherever the British colonized, India was a colony of British,
Yes.
right? So it's always like England, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but in India, I didn't drive much. Okay.
Okay.
So, and here, getting into license, until you have a license, you cannot drive. So, you have to depend on the office driver, or have to taxis. The mobility was,
public transportation was
mobility was an issue at that time. And then you have to make your own food, you have to do your own things, and a lot of adjustment, and especially when you are not used to doing those things.
yeah.
And then, but slowly, I got into my groove, and then work-wise, it is all the same.
Work-wise, when in the Western region or in the UK, for example, the dominant language spoken is English, right?
Yeah.
Here, I don't know what was the scope of work that you have been doing back in 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
However, that the government sector is a big influence in the market,
Yes,
and they are
yes.
Arabic dominated
That's correct,
language.
that's
So
correct.
how did that affected the communication?
Well, Dubai is one of those rare cities where it embraces you, right?
True.
It gives you a feeling that you are not away from home.
You belong here.
You belong here. You're
Yeah.
part of this.
True.
You are like us,
True.
right? So that gives you that place, like they all speak universal language, which is English.
Yeah.
Now even people from Arab worlds, even they all speak English, right? So they try to accommodate you.
Mm-hmm.
But now, fortunately, unfortunately, I would say unfortunately, I didn't have that flair for the language. I couldn't learn the language at that point of time. I can understand the language at this point of time, but at that point, it was definitely new for me. For me, Arabic, French, and Spanish are all in the same league.
Interesting.
So mostly I used English language, and that's how I managed. So other than that, one thing which was very new for me is the Ramadan period.
While working in Ramadan.
During Ramadan time.
Yeah, okay.
That was a completely different experience.
Tell us more about that.
Ramadan for expats who has never seen that the system. Ramadan period, it is always new experience. You have more. Your mind becomes more inquisitiveness is there. You start asking more questions.
It triggered the curiosity.
Curiosity was driving me crazy.
In which part?
I said, a lot of people, they were working under me, and first time they said, okay, from tomorrow I'm going home at 1:30. I said, fine, but I didn't know the rule. And why you have to go to 1:30? Because I didn't know. Okay, you are fasting. Okay, that I didn't know he was fasting. Okay, I should fine. You go there and take rest. Slowly the adjustment, and then because we were working for U.S. market, so for us
the time zone
different, and then 50% of the work hours are
Reduced, yeah.
reduced. So for that period was a bit adjustment for me. But at the same time, I enjoyed learning so much about Ramadan, and I have to say, me, my wife, and my son, during Ramadan time, we make sure at least we fast a couple of days.
That's nice.
Because this is how we have learned.
Adapting the culture.
Adapting the culture. My son fasts.
Very interesting.
And
How does he find it?
he, in last 1-2 hours, he finds a bit
Struggle.
difficult,
That's okay.
struggles. Last time, this Ramadan, he said, Dad, let's
try.
fast. And we fasted. So what we went to grocery in the early morning 4. We had our breakfast.
Suhoor at 4 o'clock, yeah.
Suhoor,
Suhoor, yeah.
And then I said, okay, how are we going to break our fasting? Then my wife booked a restaurant in Dubai Hills.
Okay.
And then we went there, we prepared ourselves. It was a wonderful experience. And then when we finished everything, and then at midnight, I was thinking, okay, we need to get up in the morning. I said, no, it was only for one day. The body gets used to it, right?
Programmed. Actually, it's for us, it's the first week that you reprogram yourself, especially for the people like who is caffeine addict like myself. So it's the first week is a little bit difficult to adjust. Let's switch gears.
Yes.
Coming from a consultancy background, and you worked with a lot of businesses in an international level, UAE is blessed her citizens and the expat community here with very ambitious driving towards entrepreneurship.
Yep.
From your point, from the experience that you gathered all these years and the examples that you have seen it, there's a lot of companies that struggle with stagnation. Say they get stuck with lack of vision, and sometimes the vision is there. However, the processes are really weak, and sometimes the leadership have no idea how to implement. Yes, they have the idea, the big picture. We want to do this, XYZ product, service, whatever you name it. However, they cannot cascade it or translate the vision to the other people, because in the end of the day, you don't work with you don't work alone.
True.
You work with a team.
Yes.
However, the gap is happening between the management leadership and the operation team. How they can how can they overcome that?
Well, it's a good question. So it's a combination of many questions actually. So
Let's go.
So when you talk about this stagnation, that means the business is still a functioning business.
Yeah.
Right. So stagnation entails that the business is not growing the way it should have grown, right?
Yeah.
Now, since you talk about leadership, if they try to stay in a bubble without translating their ideas to their subordinates, okay, and execute it well, and then there is a problem, okay. Now, how do we overcome? How do we reverse that trends and make it a profitable? It is a lot of work, okay. Now, it's all about. Let's say you talk to 5 different people. Okay. Each one is going through similar symptoms, but the root cause could be different.
Agree.
Okay. Now we have to figure out what are the root cause. It's like, you're treating a subconscious patient without, so you need to have the pathological taste.
Yeah.
Right.
You diagnose the actual problem.
Yes. So you need to diagnose the root cause first.
Okay.
Okay. How do you start? First, look at the data, the trends.
Okay.
The data, we say, we believe in data and God, nothing else.
In the business world, yeah.
Yes. Data never lie.
True.
Okay. So focus on data. See that, okay, assets, liabilities, revenues, expenses. Your earning cannot be less than your expenses, right?
Obviously,
Or,
if you want to be a
right?
profitable business.
Yes, your earning has to be more than your expenses.
Yeah.
This is the fundamental rules,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, other thing is that, so once you see the data, then you find the trends. You have to go to the Pareto principle.
Okay.
So-
Explain that, how it is little
Okay.
bit.
When you churn the data, why you get in data? So that you find what are the trends. Okay.
Yes.
Where I'm deviating from my main objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The data is going to tell you that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, employ Pareto principle, which is 80-20.
Mm-hmm.
They say 80% of the effect come from 20% of the causes. Okay.
Interesting.
So there will be let's say stagnation. So there is a business which is residing underneath your good business, bad business,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a stagnation. So stagnation, because of part of it is a good business already there. So bad business. So you need to segregate good business and bad business.
Let's say good practices and bad practices. It can be.
Yes. Let's say if for a manufacturing company,
Okay.
they got some products which are giving you better margins.
Mm-hmm.
There are some products which is not giving you at all a margin, which are loss making.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to, so once you have this 80-20, 80% of the effect from 20% of the causes,
Mm-hmm.
then you find this 20%, I mean, whichever is not performing, you have to work on those, because the good business is already performing. It's a bad business which is overtaking the good business. Right?
I agree because in the last company that I worked with, it was manufacturing of woodworks, and we could see at that time some of the production lines, it consumed man hours, it consumed a lot of raw material, and even the, how can I say, snagging. The errors while producing it was more than others. However, the price ticket or the selling ticket for those and margins were not compared to the other product line. And this is exactly
that's
what
exactly
happened.
the point, yeah.
And this is exactly what happened. We started to deviate from focusing on those product lines because it became a loss for us.
Yes. So that's what exactly my point is, that you need to focus on the data. You need to see that, which are the good business that resides underneath the, underperforming business. So segregate the good things, focus on the, the other things, which is not performing.
Okay.
So then you have to see that, why they are not performing. Okay. There could be a different market conditions. Maybe those products are not market fit.
Yeah, this is another problem for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Because they will think about an idea and it will be looking pretty and looking very good, but once they start implementing it, it's either the timing is wrong or the actual product or service is not really
Correct.
up to the mark.
Correct. Maybe this product is good for another geographical market,
Yeah,
but may not be good for your market, right?
true.
Let's say I have built quite a factory in India and Middle East region, and there are something called colored nail.
Okay.
It is a wonderful product, but not for the Middle East market. Now, if you start manufacturing and thinking that, okay, this has a sizable market in my neighborhood, I'll be fooling myself, right? So it's about market product fit.
Okay.
So once you tap all these points, then you have to go through a turnaround strategy.
Who should be the captain for this?
Everything, it's a pyramid, it's
Yes.
the top-down bot.
Yeah.
Top-down, it's always top-down.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So the guy who is the captain of the ship, he has to take the lead.
It means leadership.
It's all about leadership, because
Yeah.
you need to work on the liquidity, you need to work on the operational strategy, you need to work on the future growth of the business, so on and so forth. So I mean, this is I would say there is no ready-made solutions for because each company has their own share of problem.
Yes.
Okay, so each each patient will have to be treated based on the diagnostic pathological reports.
But this is will lead me to the other to the next question, which is, what is the if we're gonna say quantify the common reasons?
The common reason is,
Give us like the five or three from your point of view. What is the common reasons that
the most is the liquidity, the financing part.
The financing part, okay.
Okay, because if you are overly leveraged, that means you are creating a problem for yourself.
This is also can apply on the
Irrespective of the business, you have to be financially
irrespective of the business or the size of the business.
Irrespective of the business. The reason being, because financially you have to be disciplined.
Agree.
Okay, if you start spending more than you earn, then you're creating deficit, a pool of deficits.
Yeah.
Okay, you're carrying forward that loss to another period. Okay,
True.
another period. So it becomes really a humongous, giant gorilla, which are going to eat you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you have to have, another thing is that you have to have multi revenue stream. A company cannot be a one product company.
So let's say the first one is the capital.
Capital.
Okay. The second one is the cash flow streams.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
I mean, you have to have a revenue stream, which has to be a sustainable revenue stream, because it's not that you're working on a seasonal business, right?
Yeah. I saw this problem
so
with other
business
people.
will have impact.
True.
Right, because what happens, your revenue comes seasonally, but your expenses are spread out throughout the year, right? So that means it's a debit and credit has to balance, right?
Very true.
So those are the basic.
So we say the capital, we say the cash flow management. What could be the third one?
Operational efficiency.
I can relate with this, man.
So,
I can relate with this one. Operation, it can
Yes.
bite you really hard.
absolutely. You know what happened during COVID time? Everyone, most of the projects, they went through a cost overrun, time overrun.
Yes.
Just because they were overly banking on one source to procure their materials. So
Supply
when
chain.
when the COVID struck, then there was a severe disruption in the supply chain.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely.
didn't have an alternate way as a substitute, right?
Yeah.
So once we didn't get the raw material, then everything was
Everything
they
got
had
disrupted.
a ripple effect, and that cascading impact adversely impacted him so much so that they ran out of the business.
In the one of the ripple effect of that until now, some companies that they never came back to the market.
Yes, but then COVID also introduced many companies who otherwise were, we could never think about those companies. After COVID, there are so many companies have come up.
Take an example, Zoom. Zoom flourished during
Zoom.
Yeah,
Zoom, yes.
Zoom flourished during COVID.
You look at Indian market, there are unicorn. There are so many unicorn. At least 50 odd unicorn just came after COVID.
Like in telecom or on services.
Different across.
Give us an example of one, if you remember any.
There is a car sale company here. I don't remember. It's not coming to my mind. Used car sale. There are some portals, and some of them are from India. They are a unicorn company. What they do, they just buy and sell used car.
How they flourished during COVID.
During COVID, they came up with this idea. Then they started, they were actually working in India in a very small segment.
Okay.
And then today they are a unicorn company. And then another company, Joho.
Here, one of the major segment, it's the delivery.
Yeah, sorry, Joho is another into, you must have seen this email, Joho.
I might see in some of this advertisement, but the delivery services here, it was when we talked about post-COVID, it was majority is restaurants and cafe shop. But during and after COVID, it's became to groceries, pharmacy,
Yeah.
basically everything,
Of course, yes, because
even documents.
every every such there was a Lehman Brothers collapse, there was a shock, then this COVID shock. Every shock gives rise to an opportunity.
Yes, agree.
How you are capitalizing your expertise, using your expertise to create an opportunity defines you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
Opportunist. You have to be really ready to take that.
Yeah, opportunist is a very negative at times, but you have to be at times, you have to capitalize on the opportunities that you have, right? Like Joho is currently, this they are hosting server, they are hosting many things, I think after we are done with it, we should know about this. Joho is a big, really big company now. Even Dubai, they are they're giving service to so many companies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
During your 23 years or the last 10 years of working closely with organization and corporates to solve their either launching a new product or even process help them with the operation, share with us and with the listeners some, at least a story of one of these examples, and why it's difficult for organization to seek help when it comes to solving their internal problem. Because I'll tell you why. In another way to say it, there is what I have seen from organizations. Unfortunately, when they spot a problem, they try to hide it, put it under the rug all the time.
Yes.
Sometimes they try to solve it internally. However, when they hit a wall, they refuse to seek external.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So, to answer your question, most of the there are two kind of entrepreneur.
Okay.
One who believes that every uttered word by me should be golden words for my subordinates.
How is that? Unpack it.
Okay. I mean, they have a very singular approach. Very, they think that since it is my ideation, I should not seek validations.
Yeah. Okay, now it makes sense.
And maybe that person has taken this, this idea has come in his bathroom. But some of those ideas may not be workable in commercial life, right?
Yeah.
So
very true.
So, and this is one. Second thing is that when it becomes a management, management, different kind of managements. It's a collaborative management, or it is just a headmaster kind of, he thinks that,
different schools for that.
Yeah. So the CEO, especially in the sole proprietorship or, many of the companies in India and Europe, you find the owner is looking after the marketing, owner is looking after the finance, owner is looking after the operations. What happens when the owner makes a mistake?
There's no one there to put him accountable.
So delegation of authority, delegation of power is key to being a successful entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. This is something that we will come to it.
Yeah.
But continue, please. Yeah.
So it is the entrepreneur has to believe and trust the experts, who come up with years of experience, They have gone through a turbulence, bumpy rides in their life. When you started this podcast, they know how the life was. Life is always bumpy rides for everyone, be it a company, be it individuals, be it anyone, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we all go, and because that's how we learn, that's how we sharpen our skill, that's how we come up in life.
Yeah.
Okay. If we have so much experience, that means we have burned the midnight oil to come to this stage, right?
Sure.
So it is imperative for an entrepreneur, the owner of a company, to seek help of experts, so that they can help them, they can handhold them, and they can take it to next levels. Because if owner keeps doing everything, and then if he makes mistake, who is going to blame to?
Not only that, they tend to be, and I was like I won't say victim, but. Unfortunately, when I opened my second company, I played all these roles. I was doing the marketing, I was doing the website development, I was doing
For a startup is good. For a startup company is good. But the startup becomes a spin-off company.
Yeah.
Then you have to lose control and give and empower your subordinates.
It was not actually the losing the control. I didn't mind it. That I understood the importance of delegation, because that will free my time to do some other activities that will help the company to grow and to go to the next level. However, it's the obstacle was really to find someone can jump in your ship and ready to move to act immediately. Unfortunately, that was the difficulty to find. That's why I've been advised many advised recently with seeking a mentor.
See, mentoring. All right. At what stage of your life do you need a mentor? Okay. Now the coaching business is very flourishing. Okay, especially the post-COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, when they started working on your mental strength.
Okay.
You know, and then physical strength. We all know that you are a macho, and but mental state. We all went through a very turbulent phase.
Yeah, and challenges.
Yeah, challenges. So mentoring for a business mentor, I have some divergent view on that. Okay, I would always say that if you can afford, hire a good resource. No company in this world has come up been successful without right resource.
Define the resource.
Resource are the fundamental ingredients to make a business work.
Okay.
Resource could be capital, labor, or know-how, or facilities, anything, right?
Okay.
Now here the human capital is very important.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
and human capital who are trained, skillful, who can make a difference in your overall operations and growth. Because what happens, as the CEO of a company, you should be 2 steps ahead of your employees. Because if you start doing the same thing as your employees, then you are creating a chaos actually.
Yeah.
You are not thinking for the growth of the company. Rather, you are thinking about the operation of the company. You are thinking about the day-to-day operation rather than becoming a growth driver for next cycle.
Which is very true. Yeah.
So every company has to, at least the CEO has to think about the next growth cycle, and not get bowed down by the operation work.
Very few that I have noticed and I have seen
Yeah.
managed to separate themselves.
Yes. So if let's say if a CEO has got a multiple business interest,
Okay.
so multiple revenue point
Yeah.
stream, then he can switch on, switch off from one stream to another. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then if he has to see all, he has to look at he has to work in such a way that everything works in a very cruise control mode. Right.
I prefer to say establishing a standard of operation.
SOPs.
Yeah.
SOPs are very much there. Like let's say Tata Group.
Yeah.
Tata Steel is one of the biggest, what they call in America, 800-pound gorilla company.
800-pound gorilla company.
Right?
Okay.
So it's a bellwether company. Now, why Tata is successful today? Because they have a system in place, irrespective of whoever comes and goes. The system, because of this robust system, the company performs. Right?
Interesting. Okay.
If XYG department's head changes, operation will not get impacted, because whoever takes his positions will have to go through the same system. So
Okay.
you have to strengthen your system. That's key to being a successful company.
But then if you're gonna strengthen the standard operation of a way
Yeah.
that it's even changing the the people who are leading that department, what is the creativity in this case? Where is the part that you can excel?
That's a good question. Standard operating procedure defines that, okay, you are not deviating from the trial tested process.
Okay.
Because if a product has to be manufactured, it has got certain activities,
Procedure to follow.
right?
Okay.
Each output becomes input for the next process. Okay. If input output is not well controlled, there are chances that the product deformities will occur, product quality will be compromised. When the product quality is compromised, then what you face? There is a customer attrition.
Yeah.
So as a business, you cannot afford attrition of customer. You can afford attrition of labor at times.
Yeah.
But attrition of customer means there's no repeat business.
True. Yeah. Yeah, there is a lack of revenues in this
Correct,
case.
right?
So it means that you are not limiting the creativity of improving the product. However, any product will come as a new idea. It has to follow the same set of procedure.
Let's create.
Let me take this example as the life example, that since you are a consultant now for Tata Steel and you have been involved.
Tata Group, because I have been working with other entities also Tata. Okay.
Correction, Tata
Yeah.
Group. So the latest project that you have launched, it was the
Before COVID,
before COVID.
Before COVID.
So basically, you have started this from scratch. Okay.
So yes,
Tell us, how did you manage to
let me. Okay.
penetrate a large scale corporation when it comes to introducing
Okay.
a new idea and project?
Okay. So what happens? Back in 2019, I was looking for some project in India, and then I was connected to one of the Tata director. I was pitching, look, Tata is a bellwether company. They are so good. They have a multi, they are so diversified. Actually, the diversified is a problem for them because their diversification is so wide that they've not been able to focus on their core business, right? Like steel. Steel is a core business, right? Steel is the one who has given so much money that they have now into jewelry. Do you know? Tata
Even in jewelry.
Even in jewelry, if you see Silicon Central, there is a Tata jewelry shop is there.
Interesting. Because all we know that Tata as Tata Steel is Tata Steel and automotive. They have their own.
Tanishka. Tanishka is a brand which is owned by Tata. Tanishka is a jewelry brand.
I need to look that.
And then, so I was saying that, okay, you have so much scrap coming from your process. Why don't you, and you're selling at a very throwaway price, why don't you increase the salvage value of those scraps? How do you do this? He said, find a downstream steel product. Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens? There's an upstream. They buy, they own mines. From there, they make wire rods. From the wire rod, I said, why don't you focus on different product which can be used from the scraps? So that was my first pitch. I said, wow, this is a wonderful idea. I mean, that's how we started working, and then that is the story that we started working together, and today they are making good margin on this business.
For me, if I will translate it in today's modern world of someone want to enter to the market, I would say find a niche that you can bring in value to the user, to the market, and basically amplify why it's required for this market. Because what you have done is you bring the attention that instead of selling scrap metal with a cheap price, you can invest a little bit, build it in a better way that's going to be an end product that you can sell it with XYZ markup.
So what happens? We all talk about upstream, downstream, and midstream.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes the company is only focused on their own core, which is a midstream, and they think that, okay, once I make the product, then I sell in the market, and then let others make the downstream product. This is the thought process behind most of this company. Now they said, okay, if you're focusing on upstream, midstream, downstream, that means you're capturing you're increasing your market size, right? Steel is ubiquitous. Steel everywhere, right? There is no substitute for steel.
True.
Okay, you talk about.
It's used everywhere in every kind
you
of.
You talk about breezes. You talk about construction housings. You talk about.
And the mics.
Yeah,
Everything.
everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So there's no substitute for steel. So let's figure out how we can increase our customer base through a downstream steel product. Okay.
Interesting.
So this is it's about, and then what happens? You are not only getting into downstream, you're also diversifying your product. So again, as we started this podcast, you cannot be a singular revenue stream company, singular product company, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a multiple product for different geographical, different industry.
So as a takeaway for our listeners, unfortunately, our time for this episode is almost getting over.
Oh.
So one,
Okay.
interesting. So if we're gonna take a takeaway for our listeners today in the entrepreneur field, your advice is to create a multiple
Yes.
revenue generation.
First is that focus an idea which can be translated into revenue.
That's one.
This is. Second thing is that focus on a multiple geographical region so that you can supplement. Sometime if it's freezing in US, freezing in Europe,
Yeah, you can.
you have a market in Middle East.
Understand.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea as well.
Third thing is that always stay financially disciplined. You cannot spend more than what you earn.
That could be a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, because you tend, when you launch your business idea, you tend to go spending because in back of your head, yeah, I need to spend on this, I need to spend on the marketing, I need to spend on the website, I need to spend in certain assets. So sometimes you can lose track, honestly,
That's
capex.
a key. So
Yeah.
financially discipline is a must. You need to be very disciplined financially, because if you don't take care of money, the money will not take care of you.
It cannot be simpler than that, isn't it?
Yeah. One day money will desert you. Right? The entrepreneur, right?
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Well, unfortunately, our time is over for this episode, and
That was quick.
yeah, thank you, Vashaent, for the time, and definitely we're gonna take a part 2.
Thank you.
And that will be for our listeners is gonna be more in details about.
Thank you for having me here.
No worries at all. And for you guys, if you found these strategies that have been shared by Vashaent today is helpful for you, please don't forget to like this video and share with us what's your thoughts, because I'm gonna take the liberty from Vashaent and promise to have a part 2 with you, and it's gonna be more with details, I hope.
Thank you very much.
And I would like to hear from you guys, and see you on the next episode. Bye bye for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.